In our second demo concerning running legacy reports, we're going to go and modify a legacy report application so that it creates an XML data stream. It creates an XML file, and it also creates an RDD file that we can then use as input into GRW Report Designer, and we can use that XML file as input into an application so that it runs from the XML file instead of running from the database. So let me go ahead and start with that. So again, we're going to be starting with a legacy report, but this time instead of just outputting it to the report viewer through the report engine, instead we are going to create the XML data stream and allow us to then go in and do some redesigning using the report designer. So my first step is to go and again find a legacy file to use. So let me go into my samples, chapter 9. I'll grab my cust reports yet again. And inside of my legacy folder, I'm going to paste it. And I'll rename this one to my cust reports 2. So my cust reports 2. And we'll be working with this file for the lab. Let's then go on to GRW Studio. We're going to go ahead and add yet another application node. This application node I'm going to call Legacy XML Data Stream. Let me go ahead and make this my default application. Let me go ahead and add the file. So I'm going to go to my add files, and this time I need to add the my cust reports 2. I've got the file added. I need to again do my advanced properties. So again, you can't see this, but I'm clicking the advanced properties at the bottom of that menu. And then inside of my dependencies, I want it to connect to the database. Select OK. And this time we're actually going to be using the report engine right away. So let me go into my external dependencies, and I'm going to add the library, the libgre.42x. So I have my external dependency added. I know that I've included my database node. I have this set up as my default application. Now it's time to go and start to edit the my cust reports 2 so that it produces the XML data stream. One thing to do before I go in and edit my cust reports 2 is let me select on the file name, and under the compile options, I am going to add the --build -RDD. And I'm adding this, of course, so that the RDD is created when I go and compile this file. So let's start making the edits that we need to make to this file in order to have it produce that XML data stream. So the first thing I need to do after I define my record, I need to define my handler, my SACS document handler. So define handler, again as an om.sacs document handler. I'm going to also define a variable called data stream. It's going to be a string, and I'm going to use that to hold the name of my file when I actually create the function that creates the data stream. So the next thing, I'm going to let my data stream be equal to the name of my file, so that my XML file that I'm creating. So I'm going to call it my cust reports 2.xml. And the last thing I'm going to do is let my handler equal to the FGL report, and here we say create process level data file, and then I need to give it that data file name, and I'm just going to add data stream. Now that's the minimum that we would probably need to do to create the MXML file. However, and if you listen to the slides about this topic, you'll know that there's additional things that you're going to want to do to the legacy report in order to have it produce the cleanest XML file possible. So one thing is I go down into my report block, and when we get into the format, it comes time that we can start actually removing some of the formatting that is not going to be applicable to our report. So I can start with the page header. Let me put a curly brace. I'm going to comment these lines out. I'm looking for my on every row. There we go. So end the curly brace. Now on every row, I want to just print my customer record. That's the only thing that I need to do. So we'll type that in next, but first let me then comment out the rest of these formatting type statements. So on every row, I'm going to add a line, and the line I'm adding is I want to print the customer record. So let's go up, and here we have the name, rcustrec. So I can go down on every row. I want to print rcustrec.star. So I'm printing all the fields in this rcustrec. Let me go ahead and save these changes. And then let's compile or build this application. We built the application. Now let's go out there and look inside. Now that we've compiled this, if I go and look inside of my legacy folder, you can see that I now have a mycustreports2.rdd. Because of that --build-rdd compiler option, it created an RDD file. Now let's go and execute that application. We execute the application, it says it's finished, and the target directory is my workspace-dir/bin. So I can go back to my folder. I need to find my workspace-dir, which is grw.class. I go in the bin subdirectory, and if I look down, I see there's mycustreports2.xml. So it's created the XML file. If I go to open this, and here just to show you a bit, you can see it's created an XML file with on every row, and you can view the information that it's actually putting out. So each record is being sent across an XML format. So we had created that application that would actually create the XML data stream. We now want to use that XML file as input into a report. So let's first start off by creating a new application node. I'm going to call this application node XML data stream run. Let me go ahead and make it my default application. I need to highlight it, and this time I'm going to go into my properties, assign my libgre.42x. Remember, we're going to be wanting to use Report Designer, so I need to make sure that I have my libraries set up so it's sent through the report engine. I now need to create a new report using the report list template. Let me go ahead, and I'm just going to place the report in here. So File, New, Report, and we're going to do a list report template. I'm going to go into my data view. This time I want to select that mycustreports2.rdd, the RDD that was created in that last step. If I look at it, you can see that there's my record that's being sent across. I could now go ahead and drag some of these items. So let me just hold down my control key. I'm going to just put store number. Oops, let me go into my report structure. I want that to be under the table row. So store number, I want to have store name, boom, drop that off, etc. I could go out and complete it. Let me do the same for underneath the page header, under the table header. I'm going to put that store number in the store name. And let me go ahead and arrange them so that they print out correctly on every row. So we're going to have the page header, then we'll have the trigger nodes. And at the end of the trigger nodes, on every row, we're going to print out a table row. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save this. Again, put it in the bin directory. I'm going to call this one Quick Report. And I could save it in the reports if I wanted to. I'm just going to put it in my XML data stream run. My next step is to go and create a new application file. Let me go back to my project. And then inside of this XML data stream, I'm going to create a new file. It's going to be a new source file. I will go ahead and save this. We'll keep it in this legacy. I'm going to call this file run from XML and save. You see it opens up a blank document in code editor. Let me go ahead and start adding my code. So I'm going to have a main and an end main. And then between these, first thing I'm going to define my handler. And by now, I hope you see that it's going to be an OMTX document handler. I'm going to define a data file variable. It's going to be a string. I'm going to define a report OK variable, and it's going to be a Boolean. My next step is if my FGL report load current settings, and then I need to give the report file name. It's going to be quickreport.4rp. Then I need to let my handler, GNDLER, equal to my FGL report commit current settings. Let me just shrink this over so we have a little more view. And then Endif. Now I have my if handler is not null, then, and here's where I'm telling it, let my data file be equal to my custreports2.xml, and then let report OK equal to FGL report, and now my run. I need to run the report from process level data file. It's a lot to type in, but I know I've typed it in when I hit that parentheses and it opens up to give me my help. So I want to pass in the handler, and I want to pass in the data file variable. And then I can have my else. Otherwise, if it is null, then I just probably want to exit the program. I still have an error symbol. I can see that I forgot my then after this first if statement, so let me add then. My error goes away. One other thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm going ahead and I'm sending it out to the proper device. So I want to call my FGL report select device, and I'm going to send it to SVG. And then I want to call my FGL report select preview, and I want that set to true. Let me save this report. Let me go ahead and build it. It should build without an issue, and I can execute. This time it's running from the XML data stream, and when it finishes, I have the list report. So the nice thing about doing this type of work is I can go ahead and create an XML data stream once from the database. I can then take that XML data stream and use it during my testing phase so that I don't have to go and connect and requery to the database each time. I don't even have to have a live connection to a database. I just need to be able to have access to that XML file with its data.